Hello and welcome to Arirang News Break on this Tuesday, May 10th. I'm Han-Dan in Seoul. We begin at the nation's top office. President Park Geun-hye once again stressed the importance of the economy and national security at this week's cabinet meeting. She also touched on her recent state visit to Iran and North Korea's Workers' Party Congress, which ended last night. For more, we turn to our presidential office correspondent Song Ji-sun, who's on the line. Ji-sun, we hear the president is set to meet with the leaders of the country's three major political parties this week.
That is right, Dan. President Park has invited the floor leaders and chief policymakers of the three main parties to Cheongwade for a meeting on Friday afternoon. It is the first time they'll meet since her ruling Unity Party lost its parliamentary majority in April's general election. The president is following up on a pledge she made at a meeting with chief news editors last month to meet with lawmakers after her Iran trip last week. At the meeting, the president and the politicians will discuss ways to enhance their cooperation and coordinate policies. Livelihood issues and reviving the economy are likely to top the agenda, along with North Korea's renewed nuclear threat. At the cabinet meeting, President Park also made note of North Korea's claim to be a, quote, responsible nuclear state. The claim was announced by leader Kim Jong-un during the ruling Workers' Party Congress when the young leader was named party chairman. The president characterized the regime's actions as a sign that it is unwilling to improve inter-Korean relations and said South Korea must unite to counter such threats to its national security. President Park also stressed the need to foster future growth engines during this time of slow growth and called on the cabinet members to relax regulations as much as possible on emerging growth items like drones to help the country compete in the global market. Back to you.
Thank you, Ji-sun. Give us more updates later in the day. North Korea's rare Workers' Party Congress has wrapped up, but questions remain about the timing of the once-in-a-generation event and the future of the Hermit Kingdom and its regional neighbors. Lee Ji-won turned to some experts for some clues.
Although North Korea has closed the door on its once-in-a-generation Workers' Party Congress, which ended its four-day run on Monday, experts are still speculating about why the Congress was called at this point in time. Since he came to power after the death of his father, Kim Jong-un has been executing and reshuffling high-level officials to cement his grip on power, elevate the party, and replace Kim Jong-il's military-first policy of Sungun with his Pyeongjin policy of simultaneous nuclear and economic development. Experts say now that he's secured his place at the top of the party as its chairman through his reign of fear, while also serving as the chairman of the National Defense Commission and the Supreme Commander of the Korean People's Army, Kim is seeking to demonstrate his confidence in his rule and declare the beginning of his era.
The 7th Workers' Party Congress aims to clearly declare the regime's new leadership amid political, economic and social instability.
Experts also say the Congress was called to solidify the legitimacy of the Workers' Party. Although it had already been decided that Kim would be elevated to the position of party chairman, the Congress was held to demonstrate that formal procedures are still necessary for decisions made by the regime. Some say that with the regime gaining stability through the Party Congress, North Korea could return to negotiations over its nuclear program in exchange for sanctions relief, though some also see the scenario as unlikely.
There is a possibility North Korea could use nuclear negotiations to bring about a loosening of the international sanctions on the regime. But the North is firm on its stance that it will not give up its nuclear program, so negotiations are unlikely.
Given that, the expert doubts that South Korea, the U.S. or China will enter into negotiations with North Korea. Lee Ji-won, Arirang News.
And staying with North Korea, a large-scale ceremony was held in the country's capital this morning to mark the end of its Workers' Party Congress, the first in over 3 decades. The North State-run Korean Central Television covered the ceremony live for about an hour and a half after it kicked off at 10:25 a.m. at Kim Il-sung Square in Pyongyang. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un was in attendance wearing a black Mao jacket and was greeted by tens of thousands of Pyongyang residents. Some of Kim's closest aides and newly added members of the party's standing committee of the political bureau, Choi Ryong-hae and Premier Park Bong-ju, were also present. An international journalist group has released a searchable database of offshore entities that are part of the Panama Papers investigation. Oh Soo-young has the details.
More than 200,000 offshore entities included in the Panama Papers have been made public. The International Consortium of Investigative Journalists released the database on Tuesday at 2 a.m. Korea time. Visitors can go to the website to see who is behind the different accounts tucked away in 21 offshore havens around the world. Among the tens of thousand entities listed, only 8 were found to be held by South Korean nationals. North Korea doesn't appear on the list of countries on the website. The online database does not include records of bank accounts and financial transactions, emails, passports, other correspondence, or phone numbers. The ICIJ said it was releasing the information in order to serve public interest. The data, however, is a tiny fraction of the roughly 11.5 million documents leaked to a German newspaper last year. The papers belong to a Panama-based law firm, Mossack Fonseca, one of the world's biggest players in the grey zone of shell companies, trusts, and other kinds of offshore financing. Some of the Panama Papers scandal's most shocking revelations include the involvement of high-profile figures around the world and a number of companies linked to suspected money laundering, arms and drug deals, and tax evasion. Oh Soo-young, Arirang News.
And that does it for now. Thank you for watching. Don't miss more news updates coming up at 6 p.m. Korea time.